Mickey Ranchez and the Bender Band got the crowd in Vermillion dancing to rousing zydeco music. Martha Mitchell laughed as Andy Hope spun her around in a circle, knowing he was just trying to lift her skirt. And his attempts were successful. Her skirt was pulled up, exposing her lightly tanned legs, buttocks, and red silk thong panties. As the band began to play the second jitterbug, Andy spun Martha around again, showing off her smooth thighs and rounded buttocks. "My husband is sitting right over there," Martha laughed as she continued to dance. "So?" Andy smirked. "We're just dancing." Martha didn't say anything back, just kept moving to the rhythm of the music. When the slow song started, Andy tried to pull her against him, but Martha pushed him away and offered to bring drinks to their table. "Harry likes a gin gimlet," she said, heading toward her husband. "Ready, love?" Harry asked, forcing himself to smile. "I've been dancing non-stop. Let me sit for a while," Martha replied, sitting down on the padded bench. "I thought we were slow dancing together," Harry said, trying to hide his irritation. He watched as the lawyer spun his wife around, exposing her underwear to the public, and as he tried to pin her down during a slow dance meant for her husband. "Next time, okay?" Martha said dismissively, patting Harry's arm like a child. Dick Dorrance and his wife Diana looked awkwardly away from the scene. Andy and his date, Cheyenne Whitehead, a heavily tattooed woman, were dancing nearby. As soon as they arrived, Cheyenne left Andy behind, and Harry noticed that he didn't look particularly upset. "Here are your drinks," Andy said, placing 5 glasses on the table. "Dick, you and Diane are drinking Pellegrino, right?" "I'm breastfeeding," Diane admitted, smiling. "And I'm driving," Dick added, taking a sparkling water. "Cheyenne drinks this. Has anyone seen Cheyenne?" Andy asked, placing the sunrise tequila on the table next to her empty glass. "Martha, you wanted a Long Island iced tea, didn't you?" "And Harry drinks," Martha began. "Oh, right," Andy smirked. "I forgot." "Don't worry about it," Harry snapped back, his displeasure obvious. "Harry, don't be rude," Martha glared at him angrily. "Rude? Of course not. I wouldn't want to be rude," Harry muttered. Cheyenne returned with her dance partner. The bleached blonde drank her drink in one gulp, demanded a third, and pulled her bow onto the dance floor again. Martha quickly finished her drink and followed Andy as the band began to play a 2-step dance number. "How's your back?" Dick asked Harry politely. "Healing faster than my lawyer would like, but slower than the doctor would like," Harry joked. Dick and Diana joined in the dancing and soon dissolved among the stomping, bouncing, and twirling bodies. Harry shook his head as he saw how closely Cheyenne and her partner were dancing. During dinner at the Acapulco Grande Mexican restaurant, Harry had been polite to the loud, vulgar woman and her date, Martha's boss, Andy Hope, but he didn't like either of them. He worked with Dick in the IT department of Thibodeau Investments and knew Diane from his work in administration, so he spent most of the evening talking quietly with them. The idea of going to Vermillion nightclub was Cheyenne's, and Martha had talked Harry into going with a hopeful look on her face, promising that every slow dance would belong to him. She happily agreed, and they all set off for the club, each couple in their own car. "We're going!" Dick shouted, trying to shout over the music. "We haven't seen the kids in forever, and Diane feels guilty." "Oh, shut up," Diana laughed happily. "Like you don't miss them?" "Miss them? Miss who?" Dick feigned indifference. "I'll see you Monday," Harry smiled, accepting a light kiss on Diana's cheek. "That bastard never brought me a drink?" snapped at Cheyenne, seeing the 2 empty glasses on the table. "Apparently not," Harry replied. Shrugging, Cheyenne pulled her bow towards the bar. She didn't even ask Harry if he wanted anything, but he didn't expect her to. "Forget it," Harry muttered, watching his wife's panties flicker into view as Andy spun her around again with a smirk on his face. A slow song began to play, but instead of returning to the table to invite him in, Martha snuggled up to Andy. Andy's satisfied smirk was blatant enough, but the look of contentment on Martha's face pierced Harry to the core. Cheyenne Whitehead, loud and commanding, had done nothing deliberate to hurt Harry. Unlike his wife. Harry grabbed Cheyenne's purse and his woman's purse. Pulling out his keys and Martha's cell phone, he took his cane and limped toward the exit. "Here, hold this," he said to the bouncer, holding out 2 purses. "Hey sir, can't you just—" The security guard began, but Harry was already heading outside. Inside the club, Martha and Andy continued to dance, while Mickey Ranchez and the Benders performed their latest hit, Sharing the Moon. Shouts of approval filled the room, and Mickey smiled as he noticed the fluttering skirts. Harry drove home. The house was a wedding gift from his father-in-law, Chris Fontenot. The 2-story monstrosity had served them well for 2 years, until a car accident had injured Harry's back. Now he and his wife lived on the 1st floor, though she spent more and more time upstairs in their former bedroom complaining about his snoring. Entering the house through the garage, Harry checked the locks on the front and back doors, and then headed for the 1st-floor bedroom. Despite the pain in his back, he quickly gathered his clothes and toiletries. Realizing he would need another suitcase, he headed upstairs to one of the guest bedrooms. "You can do it! You're a Marine kid!" Harry encouraged himself loudly. "On the double! Let's go!" When he got to the 2nd floor, he was drenched in sweat. He leaned against the wall, trying to catch his breath. The bedroom was a mess. His wife hadn't bothered to make the bed. She always had a maid for that. Harry had done it after the wedding, but she'd never done it properly. And she certainly didn't make the bed the way the sergeant would have expected. Finding the luggage, Harry first decided to take the largest suitcase. But then he wondered if he needed the 2nd and 3rd. Would he be able to climb the stairs again? The small suitcase was at the bottom, as it had been needed after that drunk had rear-ended him. His wife had then packed a few pairs of underwear, a pair of pajamas, some t-shirts, and loose pants. "Anything I don't take, she can take upstairs," Harry muttered, and tossed the suitcases down the stairs. Finding more clothes upstairs, he filled his trusty duffel bag and tossed it downstairs as well. Seeing nothing on the 2nd floor that would interest him, Harry gritted his teeth and started down the stairs, limping. "Oh my God." Gasping, he wheezed as waves of pain swept over him. "Jesus, please support me." Harry had just about finished packing when there was a knock on the door. He glanced at his watch. He had left Vermillion at 8 p.m. and it was now 10:30. His wife came home 2.5 hours later. Harry picked up his laptop computer, remembering to turn off his desktop computer, and walked through the kitchen to the garage. Before closing the door, he placed her cell phone and a bunch of keys and her car keychain on the kitchen table. After placing the laptop on the passenger seat of the car, he locked the door leading from the kitchen to the garage and started the engine. His wife had the bright idea to jump out in front of the car when she saw the garage door go up. She also had the bright idea to jump out of the way when Harry squealed as he drove out of the garage, leaving a streak of rubber. He laughed at the stunned expression on her face, and at the fact that she hadn't had the sense to enter the code to raise the garage door instead of pounding on the front door and screaming. As Harry started to lower the garage door, his wife managed to dash into the garage before the door closed completely. He laughed again as she quickly discovered that the door to the house was locked, the car was securely locked, and the inside garage door switch still didn't work since she had broken it last week. She was in for a long night in the garage, and possibly a long weekend. The maid wasn't due until Monday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. At the DeGard Inn, Harry got a room. He made himself comfortable on the large motel bed, enjoying the padded headboard and the scruffy headrest. The hot needle jets of the shower were delightful, and he lay under the endless hot water for a good 20 minutes before he finally turned it off and stepped out. Lying in bed, Harry cursed Donovan Prejean again, the drunk who had crashed into the back of his 1,977-year-old Chevy truck. That truck belonged to Brian Mitchell, Harry's uncle. Brian bought it new at Hinton Chevrolet and took care of it until glaucoma forced him to give up the keys. Nobody wanted the old truck anymore. The air conditioning didn't work, and the radio was AM only. But Harry loved the old egghead, and promised Uncle Brian he'd take care of the old bucket of bolts. The truck would probably last another 45 years. Donovan was drunk because he had been paid even earlier that day. Besides, he was more focused on the 16-year-old soccer player he'd lured into his car than he was on the traffic light that had turned red. He didn't even have time to slow down before he crashed into the back of Harry's truck. Donovan Prejean walked away from the accident without a scratch. The boy in the car suffered a serious head injury and whiplash from the airbag deployment. Harry, on the other hand, doubted whether he would ever walk again. At 6 o'clock on Saturday morning, Harry got up, made himself a cup of hotel coffee, and called his father-in-law. He told Chris Fontenot what the code to the garage door was and where to find the emergency key to the front door. Wait, why are you saying—" Chris moaned, still not fully awake. Harry ended the conversation, then blocked Chris and his wife's phone number. Thinking about it, he also blocked her work number and Chris Fontenot's welding shop phone number. Harry used a VPN to log into the motel's Wi-Fi network and paid off all of their joint credit cards, then canceled them. He withdrew half the money from their joint accounts and opened a new account in his own name only. Even though he knew his wife's personal savings account numbers and guessed what codes she might have, Harry left them alone. Any credit cards in her name would be her problem. The house and utilities were in his father-in-law's name, so Harry left those alone as well. He was no longer in a vindictive mood. He just wanted a clean break. Venice Apartments had a vacant one-bedroom apartment on the first floor, and Harry signed a 6-month lease for apartment number 110. As he and Keisha were leaving the office, the cute red-headed girl from apartment 109 smiled shyly at him, and Harry smiled back at her. Out of boredom, Harry decided to make a trip to the Levada mattress store in Flowers. As their advertisement stated, when it comes to bedding, no one will provide you with a softer fit than Landry's. 2 salesmen stood in the corner of the store discussing local politics and the disappointing performance of the University of Louisiana basketball team this season. Harry was invited to look around, and the 2 men returned to their conversation. Harry wondered if he should go to O'Neill's Furniture in Algie, where he was sure he would get better service. What's next? They'll start talking about what a loser Biden is, but he's better than that damn Trump, came a thin voice. Harry looked around and looked down. A girl was standing in front of him, smiling. He smiled back. "Looking for something in particular, sir?" she asked. "Yes, I need a fairly firm bed. I've been in a terrible accident," Harry replied. "Oh, how awful. Do you need a full-size queen or king?" she asked, looking around. "Queen, most likely. It's for an apartment. I doubt a king bed would fit in there," Harry said, not taking his eyes off the girl. "Firm, you say? Have you ever considered a mattress with adjustable firmness?" the girl asked, leading him to one of the display cases. "Look, there are air pockets in here that can be inflated to the firmness you need." Her light brown hair was gathered into a bun, secured by 2 long wooden bobby pins covered in black lacquer. Harry noticed that her dress was an oriental style, reaching to just below her knees and harmonizing with her black high-heeled shoes. The gold buckles on the shoes matched the gold appliques on the dress. Although the girl did not look Asian, she had facial features reminiscent of Eastern European ones. As she approached the display case, she turned, and Harry noted her graceful figure. When she turned to Harry again, he noticed how beautiful her breasts looked under the silk dress. "Jesus, what's with all this confusion about Afghanistan?" one of the salesmen stated. "Of course, Trump claims he'd do a much better job," another chimed in. "Come on, I'll show you around," the girl said, smiling her charming dimpled smile at Harry. "Have you made up your minds yet?" One of the salesmen addressed them. "The girl is doing a great job helping me, thank you," Harry replied. "Hey Lily, why don't you clean up the pillow department?" The salesman smirked, looking at the petite girl. "I'll take it from here." "I said she's doing a fine job helping me," Harry snapped back. No, I'll take it from here," the salesman insisted with a slight smile. "Thanks, goodbye." Harry said and headed for the door. Hey, buddy, the salesman said, stunned. Is there a problem? Marcus Levada, the owner and manager, asked, coming out of his office. No, sir, replied the salesman. Yes, sir, said Harry, recognizing the store owner from the many television commercials. Hi, I'm Harry Mitchell, a disgruntled customer. Why is this customer dissatisfied? Marcus asked the salesman. Because while these two chatterboxes were enjoying the sound of their own voices, this young woman took the time to make sales. And just as I was about to make my decision, one of them came over here trying to hijack the deal, Harry explained. And when I told him I didn't need his help and that she was doing a fine job, he ordered her to clean up the pillow department. Lily? Marcus asked. Yes, sir, Lily confirmed Harry's words. And if he treats a coworker like that, I don't even want to imagine how he would treat a customer, Harry concluded. Marcus watched as Peanut 2 quickly made his way toward the family of 4 that had entered the store. He realized that his presence on the sales floor had caused the other salesmen to act faster. Marcus then turned to Harry again. So, what can I do to keep you satisfied? Marcus asked. That's a good start already, Harry agreed. So, this young lady, you said her name was Lily? Yes, sir, Lily O'Connor, the girl confirmed. She was showing me this bed, Harry said. You see, I've been in an accident and I need something firm for my back, and this salesperson didn't even bother to find out. She also convinced me to get a twin bed instead of a full-size bed. You never know when you might need guests, right? The salesman, nicknamed Oaf, looked embarrassed and stepped back, muttering to himself. Marcus, Lily, and Harry continued discussing the benefits of a comfortable bed. A brass bed? Yes, sir. We have it in a double model, Lily replied cheerfully, checking the information on her iPad. Sir, I'll add the foundation and frame, Marcus said, turning to another salesman who was showing the family the bunk beds. Thank you so much, Lily said quietly. You wouldn't believe how many times. Marcus returned just as the parents settled on a steel tube bunk bed in black chrome. Harry looked up and nodded toward Lily. One more thing, Mr. Levada, Harry began. Oh, no, sir. Call me Marcus, Marcus Levada insisted. Marcus, look at the way this young lady is dressed. Look at her hair and makeup, Harry said. She is the epitome of professionalism. Now look at these 2 men. Was that one, Peanut 1, sleeping in that shirt? Do you pay your employees enough to buy a razor? I see he didn't shave today. And the other guy? He's got a gray jacket, but his pants are brown. Lily looked up as Harry began dictating his wife's address, and then the address of his new apartment, but said nothing as Harry continued his musings. They agreed on a delivery time, and Lily thanked him again. Thank you for giving Levada a second chance, Marcus said as he shook Harry's hand. Thank you, sir, Harry replied. At the thrift store in Flowers, Harry purchased a light brown tweed sofa and a matching recliner. He also selected a good quality kitchen set. At Miller's Electronics, he bought a TV and stand and arranged for a complete cable and internet package from PC Nation. Short Moves arranged to deliver the sofa, chair, and kitchen set at the same time Landry's delivered his bed. While he was at the store, an unfamiliar number popped up on his cell phone. Since he didn't recognize the number, he sent it to voicemail. Really? Really? You left me in the garage all night, shrilled his wife's voice in the message. Could have left you there all weekend, Harry muttered, blocking out the new number. Now I even wish I hadn't. Have you finished your little seizure yet? His wife texted from another phone number. Not a little seizure, Harry muttered, blocking that number as well. Monday morning, Dominic Donnie, the IT manager, nodded grimly when Harry informed him that he would be taking a leave of absence to deal with some personal problems. Troubles in the foreclosure department kept Harry and Dick busy until almost 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Dominic informed Harry that he had received at least 10 phone calls from his wife while he and Dick worked to solve the problem. After lunch, Harry called Nicole Banks, who was handling his lawsuit against Donovan Prejean's insurance company, and asked who she would recommend for a divorce. When do you want it filed? Nicole asked. And where? As soon as possible, and at her place of employment. Maximum exposure, snapped Harry. The furniture was due on Wednesday. Dominic only nodded when Harry informed him Wednesday morning that he would be leaving work at 2:30. Dick walked in a few minutes later, and Harry informed his co-worker that he would be leaving work early. So, let's see if you can somehow get by without me, huh? Harry gave a strained smile. Please pick up the phone. I'm tired of talking to your wife, Dominic said as the phone on Harry's desk rang. So, are you done with your little pity party yet? Harry's wife asked grudgingly. Don't call here again, Harry growled and ended the call. The collection is down again. Mitchell, get in a good mood before you go in there, Dominic ordered. I'll get right on it, Dick said, grabbing his tool bag. I'm in a good mood. Hell, I'm in a great fucking mood, Harry growled, grabbing his tool bag and pulling out the equipment they had used to fix the previous problem. I'm serious, Harry. If Francesca calls me and tells me you blew up one of her employees, Dominic warned. While Dick and Harry were again trying to determine the source of the latest glitch, Martha sat at her desk in the Sherwill Group building and sobbed. She had ordered a pizza last night. Cooking wasn't her favorite pastime, and an employee at Brick's Pizza had informed her that the card in their database had been canceled. Martha had to look for another card, and the clerk again informed her that this joint credit card had been canceled too. That little bastard, Martha growled, pulling out her American Express card. A check online revealed that her husband had withdrawn half of their savings and half of their checking account. Fortunately, she was too smart for him to find out about her two secret accounts. All because I danced with Andy a couple times? God, I thought you were man enough. Martha snapped and looked up as an attractive blonde entered the small reception area. Hi? I mean, I've seen the pictures. Kelly Bro? God, she was so beautiful. I still can't get over her death, and that Tiffany? I hate myself, the woman purred. Yes, ma'am? Martha asked, fighting her irritation. Anyway, you're Martha, right? Martha Mitchell? Teresa White asked, swiveling her head around. Yes, I'm Martha, Martha agreed. You've been served, Teresa said, handing Martha an envelope. What? Martha opened her mouth in bewilderment as Teresa took a digital picture of Martha holding the large envelope. So, what do you think of this? Andy smirked, reading the petition for dissolution of marriage over Martha's shoulder. Just because I danced with you a couple times? Martha stammered. I'm not sure shitty taste is grounds for divorce, Victoria Pratt, Richard Lopez's executive assistant, remarked as she walked out the outer office door. Today's mail. Why is your phone back on Do Not Disturb? Where's Samantha? Andy asked, referring to the girl usually in charge of the mail cart. Oh shit, Martha replied, realizing she hadn't turned off the Do Not Disturb mode on her phone this morning. Went out, got sick, again, Diane said, expressing her displeasure to Andy and Martha. Don't worry, I'll handle your divorce myself, Andy stated smugly to Martha. No thanks. If he's crazy enough to go for it, I want to win, Martha replied, eliciting a chuckle from Victoria as she left the room. After a minute, Martha put the phone back on Do Not Disturb and headed for the break room. Dot Sperry, a shoe designer at Sherwill Group, and her administrative assistant, Dominique Wynne, were arguing over how to divide a banana nut muffin. Each claimed she couldn't even eat half of the muffin. What do you have there? Dominique asked, noticing the stack of papers Martha was clutching in her free hand. Okay, I'll take half if you take the other half, Dot offered, deftly dividing the large cupcake into 2 equal portions. Martha showed the attractive Asian American girl and the short designer the divorce petition. Dominic and Dot listened as Martha angrily recounted the events of the past weekend. Wasn't your husband in an accident? Dominique interjected. A car, Dot confirmed. He hurt his back pretty badly. You all wanted Mexican food, why didn't you go to Manny's? Their salsa. And he took you to Vermillion? I've been to Acapulco Grande. The chairs there suck, Dominica said. That place sucks, Dot agreed. That fresh microwave cuisine? It sucks. and they take a lot of pride in that lame food. His back must have been hurting, Dominique added. But he was still willing to go dancing? Wow, I need a Marine. No, he only wanted to dance the slow, Martha stammered. And you all huddled together? Teased Dot. No, remember? She said she danced a lot with Andy. Dot reminded her. Andy Hope? Who is not your husband. Did you dance with that creep? Dot asked. While your husband, you just left him at the table while you danced. But you were dancing with Harry when… Amy put in a word. Martha abruptly walked out of the common room, leaving a half-empty cup of green tea behind. Dominique and Dot were still fighting over the banana nut muffin. Both women regretted not being alone. They would have eaten a whole chocolate chip muffin, not just half a banana nut muffin. Dad, lawyers? Do you know any good lawyers? Martha asked when her father picked up the phone. Jesus, Martha, what's all this commotion? What have you done? Chris asked indignantly. Harry? Can't Harry solve this problem? Yeah. No, he can't, Martha muttered. Chris refused to share information with Martha until she told him what had happened. Martha did her best to explain her version of events. Chris demanded that she explain why she had danced with a man who wasn't her husband, especially when, according to her, he wasn't very good at dancing. Martha couldn't give an explanation, only sighed. Damn it, Martha, my God, when are you finally going to grow up? Chris sighed heavily. Caroline Jones. Martha managed to make an appointment with Caroline Jones for the next day. At 4:30, Martha entered her office when Diana Pratt reminded her to take her phone off Do Not Disturb mode. While his wife sat at her desk and agonized, Harry wore himself out while his physical therapist, Charlotte Webster, performed the treatments. Finally, Charlotte nodded satisfactorily, and Harry sank back onto the mat. Continue with the exercises, Charlotte said, brushing his hair away from his face. Don't forget to ice it. Take a few ibuprofen tablets. Harry wondered if Charlotte realized that her breasts looked that big when she bent over. But he didn't bother to look into the details. Charlotte always chose tight-fitting swimsuits to emphasize her shapes. Yes, Harry mumbled, rising to his feet. Don't worry, Mr. Mitchell. You'll be able to run an A soon, Charlotte promised. Harry chuckled. He hadn't even dreamed of running 5 miles with a backpack. When Charlotte leaned over to check her schedule on the computer, Harry didn't miss the chance to admire her graceful form. The yoga pants allowed him to see that the leotard top was actually a thong. The dark material emphasized her lush form beautifully. His wife had a nice figure, too. Her buttocks were the perfect size for her build, but she always thought they were too big. And, as usual, she forbade him to even touch them. In her opinion, they were for his own use only. Okay, who broke the system again? Greeted Harry Dominic when he showed up at the IT office the next morning, exhausted and tired. You're working with Floyd today, replied Dominic. Dick, he's sick. His wife gave him her cold. Women. Can't be with them, but you can't live without them either, sighed Harry as he and Dominic picked up their tools and headed for the elevator. And they smell pretty nice, Harry added as they entered the elevator. New aftershave scent? Teased Dominic as the doors opened. You smell pretty good too, said Harry as they stepped out of the elevator. Did you use something new? Smiled Dominique. No, it's just deodorant, replied Harry as they headed into the collections department. Right, Dominic shouted, trying to overcome the noise and chatter in the busy room. Everyone out of the systems. That includes you. Complete shutdown of the computers. Shut them down completely. What kind of event is this? Francesca met the tall IT manager nose to nose. Harry and I have decided that the problem may be related to one of the stations, and it could affect the entire network, Dominic explained. So we're going to check each station, run diagnostics, and shut them down. Couldn't you do that after hours? Francesca was annoyed. We could, but that would require shutting down operations all day, Dominic explained. We can't keep my entire team here solving your department's problems. There are other people working in this office, and sometimes they need to be supported too. How long will that take? Francesca was annoyed. As long as it takes, Dominic replied calmly. Actually, we're already done, Harry said as he walked out of Francesca's office. What? You hacked into my computer? Exclaimed Francesca, exasperated. No, ma'am, Harry replied loud enough for everyone to hear. I was checking the computers of Thibodeau Investments. Those computers are not your personal property. They belong to Thibodeau. Harry nodded toward Francesca's office, then told Dominic and Francesca to follow him into a small office. I don't know what porn site or dating site you've been visiting, but you've picked up a virus. Harry tapped Francesca's keys rapidly. A very old one, so our diagnostics didn't detect it. But every time you went to Thibodeau Properties. Yep, I didn't. Francesca tried to deny it. You were ruining the work of the entire department. Harry interrupted, showing the computer history on the screen. So if it wasn't you, who was it? If any of the staff did it, they'd be fired right away, Dominic said seriously. Me, Bruce. Bruce wanted a baby brother or sister for Christine. Francesca began to justify herself. And Darren Loomis? Christine's dad is in a serious relationship, so... Dick and I were poking at nothing because you wouldn't let us look at your computer. Harry quipped as his computer beeped, signaling the successful removal of the virus from the system. Harry turned the computer off, waited 10 seconds, and turned it back on. Francesca wiped her eyes with a tissue, and Dominic avoided looking at the collections manager. Harry nodded, satisfied, and made room for Francesca. What do you think is going to happen to her? Asked Harry as they waited for the elevator. With who? Asked Dominic as the elevator doors opened. With Francesca, Ms. Crowder, explained Harry as they went up. I don't know what you're talking about, replied Dominic. In the IT office, Dominic told Harry what he thought. Francesca Crowder had just experienced the true fear of God. She would no longer be accessing banned sites, at least not on Thibodeau's computer. And there was no point in notifying Tom Thibodeau about it. Francesca is too valuable a manager to lose because of some mood of his. Just let her know that we know, and it'll be our goat until we need it, Dominic concluded. And about the porn? What porn sites has she been visiting? Asked Harry. Just sending Dick a message. We found the problem. All the ladies in the collection department were uploading nude pictures that Diana showed them, said Harry. Dude, Dominic shouted. Let me know what he has to say. Fuck you, Harry read Dick's reply. Diana would never share pictures like that. I'll call Diana and see if she has any, Dominic stated. And the porn site was, began Harry, showing the screen. Pregnant lesbians. That sounds pretty interesting, Dominic remarked, looking over Harry's shoulder at the screen. Yeah, most pregnant women look pretty hot anyway, Harry agreed, deleting the link. Arriving home, Harry smiled at his roommate. Entering the apartment, he made himself a drink and sat down in a soft armchair. He knew that Charlotte, his physiotherapist, would condemn him for such furniture, but at the moment, he didn't care. They discussed having children. Harry wanted 2 or 3, but at least 2. His wife stated that she was one of those who preferred one and all, and argued that Harry would undergo a vasectomy after they conceived their only child. I wish you luck, Harry muttered. My gun will shoot bullets until my ass is zipped. Surely she'll look sexy with her tummy swollen from our babies. Harry pondered, feeling arousal in his crotch at the thought of his sexy little wife's pregnancy. Harry poured the drink into the sink and made himself a light dinner. As he sat at the table, he felt an emptiness come over him. His wife kept putting off the expected date of their potential conception. He had realized this when he was in the service. For the first 2 years after his discharge, he reluctantly accepted it. His wife wanted to enjoy their life together. Then she wanted to wait for this goal, then another. Hello? Harry answered the phone. The number sounded familiar. Hello, Mr. Mitchell? Hi, is this Lily? Lily O'Connor? From Levada? Came a squeaky voice. Hi, Lily O'Connor from Levada's. What can I do for you? Smiled Harry, remembering the beautiful salesgirl. Mr. Mitchell, Lily gasped into the receiver. Lily, just call me Harry, okay? Suggested Harry. Mr. Harry, how do you like the bed? Asked Lily. The bed works great. I really appreciate you offering me that option, Harry admitted. And the delivery crew? Those guys did a fantastic job installing everything. Very professional. Wonderful, exclaimed Lily, then spoke more anxiously. I'd like to take you out to dinner some night for helping me with Jerry and Mr. Marcus. Lily? Yeah, you're a really special girl, Harry said. Oh God, not this talk about you being a special girl, Lily moaned. God, don't take it seriously. But right now I'm in the middle, or rather the very beginning stages of a divorce, Harry said. But once the judge signs on the dotted line, I want that dinner date. How long is this going to take? Asked Lily, panting again. Not fast enough, Harry replied. But when I have the papers in hand, I'll take you to the Hanging Gardens. Have you ever been there? It's a Thai place right near my work. I love their pork and peanuts and curry. I can't wait, Lily purred, and Harry decided to do an extra set of exercises that evening. His erections had been weak and fleeting since the accident. Charlotte assured Harry that he could fully recover. He just needed to give it time and patience. Harry told Charlotte that he didn't have the patience, but unfortunately, there was plenty of time. When Harry finished his exercises in the evening, he was covered in sweat. The shower in his apartment wasn't hot enough and the spray was weak. Harry decided that when the divorce was finalized, he would find a house, install a boiler that would give really hot water, and purchase a shower head capable of cutting flesh. He sat on a small stool in the cramped shower room, letting the water beat down on himself, and thought of Lily, his anonymous neighbor, his wife who would join him in this imaginary shower in his future home. Your wife has been retained by Caroline Jones, Nicole Banks informed Harry the next day. Good, I guess. Thank God I have the best, Harry said. They're asking for counseling, Nicole added. Counseling is fine. The clock still keeps ticking, right? Asked Harry. The clock is ticking until you tell me to turn it off, agreed Nicole. Dominique gave Harry a hard time when Harry told him about the latest developments in his love life. Harry grinned, knowing Dominic wasn't kidding. Let's break it down. Time off for a massage, Dominic said, listing offenses with his fingers. Dude, physical therapy? That's not a massage, Harry objected. Time to get your bed, Dominic began. Well, yeah, you got me, Harry agreed. Time off for a meeting with the lawyer. Time off to scratch your ass, Dominic continued. Well, that's a pretty bad itch, Harry admitted. Not to mention it's pretty big, Dominic said. Hey, the size of a man's ass? That's a personal thing, retorted Harry. Mrs. Cahill is off again, Dominic smiled. Damn it, where's Dick when you need him? Dominic said thoughtfully. Oh, let's see if Diana has any pictures of Dick, eh? Harry suggested, getting to his feet. But imagine how scared he'll be when he thinks we've already got them. Dominic chuckled. So when do we have the counseling session? Ms. Banks will let me know, Harry replied, opening the door. Amanda Hooper was incompetent and gave trite advice like it came out of a fortune cookie. Harry immediately felt an antipathy towards this woman and her office furniture. He noticed that his wife didn't intervene when he tried to explain to Amanda why her soft and low furniture wasn't suitable for a session. Ma'am, I've had an accident. I was rear-ended by a drunk driver, Harry said through gritted teeth. I understand the psychology of upholstered furniture, but this is unacceptable to me. Maria Vogel, Sylvia's secretary, brought a chair from the break room. Harry thanked her, and she nodded in return. Now that we're all comfortably seated, Amanda said. His wife told her version of the evening that had led to Harry leaving the house for no reason. Harry held back the urge to roll his eyes upon hearing her story of the anguish she had endured upon learning of his departure. Harry told his version of events. He had not, as his wife claimed, thrown a fit when he was offered a dance. He just wanted to have a few slow dances with his wife. Both Amanda and his wife nodded in agreement. Sylvia even got a smile. "Now ask her how many slow dances we've danced together," Harry said firmly. "Yeah, I don't remember. 1 or 2, maybe," his wife replied, blushing. "Not a single one." "Now ask her boss how many her boss had," Harry said, leaning on his cane. "Our time is up. Have your secretary contact me to set up the next appointment." But I haven't even given you an assignment for the next session," Amanda said, stammering. "Email me and I'll look into it in my spare time. I have to get back to work. My lunch break is ending," Harry said, and walked out of the office. "If you don't even feel like working on our marriage, what's the point?" shouted his wife into Harry's phone receiver that same day. "That's exactly what I was thinking," Harry replied. "But you need to have your lawyer contact mine. You don't have to call me." "Oh, what does it matter?" his wife objected. Harry wondered if his wife, or even Dr. Hooper, had noticed that she hadn't made the slightest effort to move to the chair next to Maria. He also wondered if both women had noticed that his wife had not supported him when he talked about his physical limitations. At the next meeting, the chair was already prepared. Harry nodded his thanks and took his seat. His wife sat down again in a low chair at the other end of the room. Harry turned the chair so that he could more comfortably watch his wife as she once again talked about him and his unreasonable actions and demands. "Andy Hernandez," Harry said when Amanda let him speak. "What?" his wife asked in surprise. "I'm sorry that," began Amanda. "Chad Theriot, Tommy Haval, Tommy Dawson," Harry continued. "I don't," his wife began, but her gaze settled on a point above Sylvia's head. "What are those names?" Amanda interrupted her. "They're the guys she slept with when we were engaged," Harry said, not looking away from his wife's gaze. "Oh, like you were so innocent," his wife exclaimed. "Name one at least. Name one girl I've slept with since I put your wedding ring on," Harry insisted. "We're not getting anywhere if," started Amanda. "Robert Richardson, who almost got you divorced," Harry continued. "Did you know he was married? With twin girls? Did you even care about his wife and girls?" "What about you?" objected his wife. "I've been completely, 100% faithful to you from the moment you agreed to be my wife," said Harry. "Oh, I'll disagree with that," snorted his wife. "If I've been unfaithful, prove it," threw in Harry. "I know you didn't take your panties off after I left the house and came back." "There, see?" said his wife. "But after that incident, it seemed like it was only a matter of time. The flirting, oh, that's nothing. The looks, the dancing," said Harry, picking up his cane. "I'll see you next week." "Wait, next week I want," started Amanda, but Harry was already leaving the room. At the 8th and final scheduled session, Amanda stated that they had made some progress, and she was sure that a few more sessions would help them reconcile. Harry's hard stare slowly wiped the smile off the woman's face. Finally, she averted her gaze and looked at his wife, who sat looking at her husband. You're done, aren't you?" his wife whispered. A sob caught in her throat. "Chad Theriot called me tonight," said Harry in a low and determined voice. "What?" his wife exclaimed. "Dr. Hooper, I can't take any more of your trite phrases and cliches," Harry declared, rising to his feet unsupported by his cane. He held onto it as he headed for the door. "I want some advice," Harry said as he stood at the study door. "Maybe instead of talking, maybe it would be better to start listening. From the beginning of these long, boring, useless sessions until now, not once have you asked me what I hope to get out of these sessions." "Yeah, well, to find a way to love my wife again," Amanda stammered. "I never stopped loving her," Harry said, opening the door. "But damn it, I sure as hell don't like her. She's immature, irresponsible, selfish, narcissistic. She just needs to grow the hell up." "Well, we can't all be as perfect as you are," his wife yelled at him. "If that's all true, then why did you marry her?" asked Amanda. "The little head was thinking for me," Harry admitted with a strained smile. But when did the accident take my little soldier out of the equation? Never said I was perfect, Harry told his wife. But at least I'm trying. At least I'm making an effort. Can you say the same? It took Martha a few moments to gather her thoughts. She was still wiping her eyes when Maria, Sylvia's secretary, reminded Martha that she needed to pay the deductible, the part that insurance didn't cover. Once settled in the car, Martha called Chad Theriot. He answered with his ridiculous yellow, and Martha yelled at him for calling Harry and telling him about their sex last night. What did I do? Bitch, stop yelling. I didn't call you. Hell, I don't even know his fucking number. How would I have called him? Protested Chad. Oh, that bastard, Martha muttered, realizing her husband had outsmarted her again. And Dad went on and on about the house, utilities, lawn care, and servants. Since her husband was no longer paying the bills, Martha had to enlist her father's help to pay these expenses. Martha didn't want to go home. She was an adult, for God's sake. But without Daddy's help, she couldn't afford a big house. How about we sell this one and you buy me a smaller one? Martha haggled. How about you get a job, go out and buy your own house, Chris objected. Now see to it that it's clean and nice. Mrs. Davis is coming tomorrow to look it over and see what we can get for it. Well, shall I get money for it? Asked Martha irritably. Still owed 12. After the debt is paid off, Harry will get half, informed Chris to Martha. Harry gets... Why does he get half? Demanded Martha. Geez, Martha, really? Your lawyer didn't explain any of this to you? Chris sighed. Well, how about this? We'll sell him for whatever amount we want, but we'll say we only have, suggested Martha. And we'll probably get adjoining jail cells, Martha. That's illegal, honey, sighed Chris. Looks like I really earned my money by sending you to Cabrini. While his wife dealt with Carmen Davis and the string of people passing through their home, Harry mentally counted down the days until the divorce. Nicole contacted Harry about the upcoming court date. Dominic, of course, had kept Harry on his toes with his request for additional vacation time. Dick joined in the gentle teasing as well. Thank God we don't have children, Harry grimly cooed to his boss and coworker. Mrs. Cahill's down again, shouted Dick, pulling out a bag of tools. No. Every time you go down there, you're gone for hours, objected Dominic. Harry will manage. Oh, whimpered Dick. Oh Lord, it's him, Dominic. He's sulking, teased Harry. Look at him. You could park a truck on that bottom lip. Oh no, I'm not going to stand for a grown man sulking in my department, said Dominic. Go on, it means so much to you. Dick jumped happily out of the office. Dominic and Harry exchanged smiles and shook their heads. Hey, how are things going with your back? I mean, you're down to 1 massage a week, Dominic asked. Dude, physical therapy isn't massage, Harry smiled. But my mobility? Getting a lot better. Range of motion? Much, much better. I wouldn't say 100%, but man, I'm a lot better than when this whole thing started, that's for sure. And best of all, my soldier is getting hard and staying hard, Harry thought to himself, but didn't say that part out loud. No one will give you a softer landing than Landry's, Lily O'Connor answered the call. I'm going to court on Wednesday and hopefully you'll be free Wednesday night, Harry said. Is that a personal call? Sounds like a personal call, Dominic teased. Is that Harry Mitchell? Lily chirped. It's Harry, then yes, I'm free on Wednesday night. Great, Harry said, smiling at her enthusiasm. Should I pick you up at Livad's? We should charge you for this phone call, Dominique said. What? I'm talking on my cell phone. What are you going to charge me? Asked Harry, covering the phone with his hand. Yeah, I'll take a change of clothes with me, agreed Lily. And in case you haven't figured it out yet, I won't be in the office on Wednesday afternoon, Harry said, ending his conversation with Lily. Oh, Wednesday? That's this Wednesday? Shit, didn't I tell you? Don't say I forgot to tell you, but we're doing the dismantling on Wednesday. It's going to take all day. We probably won't get out of here until midnight, Dominic said. And ball hockey, too, laughed Harry, and looked up as Dick returned. What did Mrs. Cahill do this time? There's no paper in the printer, so naturally she sends out 1,000 print requests, then loads it with paper. Dick shook his head. And then freaks out because now it's printing all her requests. Really? The printer doesn't work. She has to get up, walk over, and check the printer. But no, she thinks that if the first request didn't work, the next one will surely work, right? And how's Diana? Asked Dominic. Oh, hey, Dick. You do remember that we got a complete teardown on Wednesday, right? Yeah. Diane's not thrilled about it either, agreed Dick. Says God forbid if I wake the twins when I get there. But here's the thing. Mr. Mitchell over there? Thinks he can just walk out of here and go to court? Dominic said. Oh no, not on Wednesday, said Dick. All importance is on deck. It's right on your calendar. No, Dick, I'm going to spank you now, Harry said, and laughed when his computer's calendar suddenly popped up, Wednesday. Get downstairs. Okay, we'll do it Thursday. Dominic laughed, and Dick smiled a satisfied smile. Yep, Thursday next year, Harry agreed. In courtroom B, his wife feigned disinterest in the proceedings with a haughty expression on her face. Harry smiled strainedly as his former father-in-law approached him and extended his hand. Son, I hope she pulls her head out of her ass sooner rather than later. Chris sighed. I hope the same, Mr. Fontenot, Harry agreed, holding out his hand to Chris. But until she grows up? Chris shrugged, then turned and walked away. His ex-wife turned and watched her father walk out of the courtroom. Then she turned and gave Harry a glare. Then, after a moment's thought, his ex-wife turned to face forward and stared at a point above Judge Marie Robichaud's head. It was a rather dry and unemotional proceedings, until Nicole Banks put the statements from his ex-wife's 2 secret bank accounts on the table. You bastard! That's my money! Yelled at Harry by his ex-wife. Both accounts were opened after the marriage. All money deposited into them after the marriage is joint property, Nicole easily commistrumented. Caroline Jones turned and looked intently at her client. Harry knew that one of the questions Nicole had asked him was about secret bank accounts or safety deposit boxes. Harry assumed that his ex-wife's lawyer was probably asking her the same questions. But it's my money. It's mine, whined Harry's ex-wife when she was ordered to give half of the money to Harry. Caroline asked that Harry Mitchell take care of all legal fees, including attorney's fees. After all, he was the one who filed the lawsuit. Judge Robichaud smiled strainedly and shook her head. Normally, Ms. Jones, I would be inclined to agree with you on this point, Judge Robichaud said. But given that your client has been less than forthright about his income and savings, everyone should share the costs of this proceeding equally, and everyone should pay his attorney's fees. Free at last, thank God Almighty, free at last, Harry said as they left the courthouse. If I had a nickel for every time I heard that, Nicole said, shaking her head. You wouldn't have to charge me as much? Guessed Harry, and Nicole gave a quick smile. Lily was wearing a light blue button-up blouse with white stripes. A dark blue pleated skirt reached her knees, and on her feet she wore polished Mary Jane shoes with thick soles. The light blue and white ribbons adorning her thick mane of long brown hair completed the innocent schoolgirl look, and Harry felt his heart begin to beat faster. You look perfect, Harry said as he got out of the car. He was rewarded with a dimpled smile as she skipped to the passenger door of his sedan. When she got into his car, he was rewarded with a quick glance at her bare thighs. They were quickly seated. Harry had taken care of the table reservations in advance. Lily showed her hips again as Harry pulled up a chair for her. He then slid his plate, silverware, and glass to the chair to Lily's right instead of sitting across from her. I don't know why they do that, make you shout across the table to be heard, Harry said. I know, Lily agreed, smiling at him. They ordered dinner. He ordered chicken and peanuts. She ordered a vegetarian fried rice dish. While they waited for their food and dined, Harry learned that Lily's mother had committed suicide 3 years after she was born. Lily had been raised by her mother's lovers, and although Megan, Richard's lover, and Andy O'Connor, Lily's father, didn't get along, they did their best to raise Lily in a loving environment. And then, 3 years ago, I found out that my dad wasn't really my dad, Lily said. I like that. So, do you know who your real dad is? Asked Harry. Yeah, but he's not in my life, said Lily, not paying attention. My dad is my dad, period. A small commotion made them turn to the door. Harry pressed his lips together as his ex-wife and Chad Theriot, a famous race car driver, entered the main dining room of the restaurant. The ex-wife smirked, and Chad, popular for his racing, smiled politely and nodded to the diners as they were led to a table. This is Chad Theriot, Lily whispered, turning to Harry. She giggled as she looked at the arrogant man. Lily's eyes swept past the racing companion. Then she looked at Harry's impassive face. When did that Teddy Durst guy get his ass beat? I remember laughing about it. I even almost bought a pair of Tiger sunglasses because of it. Lily giggled. They showed it over and over on Channel 12. He got beaten up so badly. They make them for men too, Harry agreed. But by golly, they're very proud of those sunglasses, aren't they? Dessert? The waitress asked, listing the available desserts. Lily, that molten lava cake is gorgeous, Harry said. Okay, agreed Lily cheerfully. But you're going to have to help me eat it, okay? Well, you'll have to help me with the pecan pie, Harry smiled. And the coffee? It was at that moment, as the waitress placed mugs of strong coffee on their table, that Harry and Lily heard a woman scream, "You no good bastard! Association meets my ass!" Salma, shouted Chad as his wife pounced on him. And you home-wrecking whore, yelled Salma at Harry's ex-wife. His ex-wife tried to get up, to move back, to get away from the knife in Salma Theriot's hand. Trying to perform all 3 actions at once, she was unable to do anything, and Salma grabbed the bloody knife. Harry's blow knocked Salma back almost all the way across the table. The slippery knife slipped out of her hands, and she tried to grab it by climbing onto the table. Another customer grabbed Salma and sat her back down, preventing her from taking the knife. Harry took a napkin from the table and pressed it to the wound on his ex-wife's throat. Her blue eyes looked up at him. Harry forced himself to smile. It's going to be all right. It's going to be okay, he reassured the frightened woman. 4 police officers and an ambulance crew arrived at the same time. There was nothing they could do to help Chad. Salma's knife had pierced his heart. When the EMT removed the linen napkin from Harry's ex-wife's throat, her blood splattered on him. You'll be fine. They're here. They'll take care of you, Harry assured the still terrified woman. Are you coming with me? She tried to ask, trying to grab his hand as she was loaded onto a gurney. In the bathroom, Harry diligently washed his hands. The suit, tie, and shirt would have to be taken to the dry cleaners, but he intended to do it anyway. After wiping his hands, he called his ex-father and informed him of what had happened. Is she going to be okay? Chris pleaded. I don't know, Harry admitted. The woman self-harmed, I'm covered in blood, but they're taking them to the trauma center. You always know how to surprise a girl, Harry, Lily muttered as Harry returned to his seat. Harry laughed loudly and handed the waitress the check. The woman tried to smile, but she didn't quite succeed. It's about us. You don't have to pay, she said, pointing to the restaurant manager. Father Harry nodded his thanks and helped Lily up from her seat. He tossed the waitress a $20 bill. The manager would probably pay for dinner, but there would be no tip for the waitress. You'll think of something to get me to come back to your house, won't you? Lily asked as Harry started the car. Oh, thanks. I haven't gone on a date in a while, Harry smiled. I didn't know when I should do it. Well, I'm waiting, Lily said as Harry pulled up in front of the Venice apartment complex. Oh, okay, Lily. Do you want to see my apartment? Harry suggested. Mr. Mitchell, really? On a first date? I mean, come on, Lily exclaimed. The kind of girl that would be nice to sit on the couch making out with, said Harry as his amazement passed. Oh, that sounds like fun. I think I'd like to spend time on your couch making out, Lily agreed. Do you have coffee? Asked Lily as Harry opened his apartment door. Do you want a cup? Asked Harry, nodding to his red-headed roommate who peeked out from behind the door. No, Lily replied, letting Harry into the apartment. But in the morning… Wrinkling his nose, Harry climbed out of bed and headed for the kitchen. He grabbed a flexible ice pack from the freezer and returned to the bedroom. Lily requested the remote from his bed and noticed it resting on the ice pack. Oh my God, Harry, did I do that? Gasping, she asked. No, the woman I took away from my ex-wife did it, Harry moaned. Oh, but still, God, I didn't make it better, did I? Asked Lily, stroking his face affectionately with her small hand. Probably not, but so what? I'm sure I had fun. Harry smiled strainedly. Could you please state your name for the record? David Hightower, Assistant District Attorney and Chief Prosecutor for St. Anne's Parish, asked. Martha Mitchell, Martha whispered. I beg your pardon. Could you speak a little louder? David clarified. I can't. My vocal cords were damaged when Salma Theriot slit my throat, Martha whispered. Objection, Your Honor. That's speculation, objected Eric Green, Salma Theriot's attorney. Noted, Judge Adeline Neuenberg agreed tiredly. So you can't speak louder because of damaged vocal cords? David addressed the jury. Objection, Eric objected again. I'm only specifying why she can't speak louder than a whisper, Your Honor. I'm not stating who struck the blow, David smirked. Mr. Hightower, Judge Adeline Neuenberg warned. Despite numerous objections interrupting her testimony, Martha did recount the events of that evening. Eric cross-examined her, but Martha didn't deviate from the truth, and he couldn't shake her testimony. No further questions, Your Honor, Eric said. Police Officer Bender led Martha out of the courtroom. In her orange jumpsuit, her pale skin and blonde hair seemed even paler. As she passed her ex-husband, Martha looked back and whispered, I love you. Too bad, Harry muttered as his ex-wife left the courtroom. The prosecution calls Mr. Harry Mitchell to the stand to testify, David announced. Harry strode primly to the podium, straightened up and took the oath of office, then sat down in a hard chair. During cross-examination, Eric broached the subject of the relationship between Harry and Martha. He suggested that Harry might be biased in his testimony against Salma Theriot. Sir, at no time did I express an opinion, Harry stated deliberately calmly. I used no adverbs or adjectives. I stated the facts as they were. But it doesn't upset you that your wife was injured while dating another man? Eric asked. I'm neither happy nor displeased that Martha Mitchell, was cut, said Harry. What I'm really not happy about is the ruined good silk tie. The dry cleaners couldn't get the blood off it. Fortunately, they were able to salvage the jacket and shirt. They were cotton blend. No further questions, Your Honor, Eric said, seeing that Harry Mitchell was unfazed by his testimony. Apologizing, Harry looked at his watch. It was already 4 o'clock. Seeing no reason to return to work, he drove to the modest brick house on Wilford Road. Once inside, he took off his jacket and loosened his tie, then poured himself a whiskey and soda. Is there one for me? Maria Vogel asked, entering the kitchen just as Harry was about to take a sip. Of course I made it for you. Harry smiled and kissed the 48-year-old woman. No, I don't need it, Maria said, gently pushing him away. But tell me, how did it go? It went okay, I think, Harry shrugged. First they questioned Martha, then they questioned me and… Martha? You saw your ex-wife Martha, didn't you? Maria asked, her jealousy flaring up and quickly spilling out. Orange isn't her color, Harry said, lightly slapping Maria on the back. Careful, dear, your jealousy is making itself known. Lunch was mostly made of canned and uncooked food, since Maria wasn't much of a cook. Harry cleaned everything up quickly but efficiently, sensing that Maria needed the support. Following her intuition, Maria stripped down to her work outfit. Without preamble or foreplay, she removed her pants, blouse, and underwear. Harry tried to kiss her, but she pushed him away gently and lay on the bed facing him. "Stop it," Maria commanded as Harry kissed her neck on the transition to her shoulders. Harry realized that his girlfriend had very peculiar ideas about sex. To her it was dirty, vulgar, shameful, but necessary. She saw no need for affection or love. After all, there was no affection or love in emptying the bowels or bladder. There was no intimacy in taking a shower or brushing your teeth. "I think you've been listening to your boss too much," Harry thought to himself as Maria hurried to the bathroom. "It's all yours," Maria said almost cheerfully as she came out of the bathroom and put on her usual nightgown, an old tattered t-shirt advertising the Broadway musical Cats. Harry knew the shirt had belonged to her late husband, knew he had committed suicide, but didn't know the details. Coming out of the bathroom, Harry wasn't surprised to see Maria lying on her back, the t-shirt wrapped under her throat. Without foreplay or passion, he pulled off his boxers and sat on top of her. While she went to the bathroom to clean herself up, Harry pulled on his boxers and walked out of the bedroom. In the living room, holding a second whiskey and soda in his hand, he sat and thought. The sounds of the television from the bedroom didn't penetrate his consciousness. Lily O'Connor was an amusing diversion. Lively, simpering, affectionate, she was draining. It took a lot of energy to keep up with beautiful little Trisha. Harry believed he was falling in love with Lily when she suddenly announced that she had met the love of her life. That's how their romance came to an abrupt end. The cute red-headed neighbor had moved out, and a 300-pound, mangy-looking 60-year-old woman had taken up residence in apartment number 109. In the midst of his bad mood, Maria Vogel, a secretary from Sylvia Hooper's office, called and asked Harry if he would keep her company at an event at the Lopez Center honoring Dr. Sylvia Hooper. Cheater of the year? Harry thought, but said he would be honored and delighted to accompany Maria to the event. Immediately after the evening's festivities, Maria climbed into the back seat of Harry's sedan, pulled her cocktail dress up to her navel, and demanded that he love her. Sex is good, most of the time just fine, Harry thought, twirling a glass in his hands. But shit, it's just shit. When's her trial coming up? Maria asked over breakfast the next morning. Her trial? It's already going on right now, Harry said, finishing his shredded wheat cereal. Remember? I was testing. Not this one. She is. Your ex-wife, Maria said, sending the yogurt into her mouth. Oh, Martha? On the 5th, first Tuesday, Harry replied. Oh, Maria said, looking away. Yeah, the sex is good, but, Harry thought as they both left her house. There were no hugs, no kisses, no affectionate words. Maria got into her 25-year-old Toyota Camry, and Harry got into his Chevy. With a wave and a nod, they drove away. At the St. Anne's courthouse, David Hightower informed Harry that his participation in the trial was complete. If he was needed, he would be contacted and an appointment made, but for the moment, his role was over. See? There's a reason you didn't sell your stuff, Harry thought to himself, and headed for the Tab Properties rental office. 40 minutes later, he had a new apartment. In another 43 minutes, he had arranged for short moves to move his furniture from the storage unit to his new place. Comes and goes as he pleases, eh, Dick? Dominic said as Harry walked into the IT office. Oh shit, hey, I gotta go for a coffee break, see ya, said Harry, pretending to look at his watch. Bitch, nope, go to the supply department, Dominic laughed. They just reported that their print requests aren't going through. Paper, toner, who wants to bet on what? Harry grinned, grabbing his tool bag and making sure the toner cartridges were in their sealed packaging. I bet 50 on the toner. I hope they're smart enough to check the paper, said Dick. Toner. Definitely toner, agreed Dominic as Harry left the office. You're both wrong, Harry laughed 20 minutes later. It was paper. And of course they sent 100 requests for one document. You made it up, Dominic laughed. But since you missed your coffee break… Too bad that's so sad, Dick chimed in. Anticipating her reaction, Harry waited until Friday evening to inform Maria of his move. He wasn't afraid. He just chose an opportune moment. He was sure that Maria would scream, rant, and rage, perhaps even throw things. And when she exhausted her supply of rage, she would demand that he leave her house immediately. Instead, she let out a long sigh and said, "And here I was wondering how long this was going to take. You damn men are all the same." "Yeah," Harry started, but fell silent. "What's her name? Do I know her?" Maria asked bitterly, turning away from him. "Yeah. Who?" Harry asked, confused. "She. The one you left me for," Maria shrilled, finally showing emotion. "Maria, there's no one," Harry said. "Oh, that's bullshit. You mean you're dumping me and yet you're sleeping with me and have no other woman?" Maria demanded. No amount of persuasion would convince Maria that Harry didn't have another woman. Finally, Maria rolled over onto her back and burst into tears. Harry lay sleepless, listening to her harsh sobs. As usual, Harry made his bed in the morning. One last time before leaving the bedroom, he took off his plain white t-shirt and placed it on the pillow on his side of the bed. All of his clothes were already stowed in the trunk and in the back seat of the car. "Bye," Maria muttered, as Harry put the coffee cup, bowl, and spoon in the dishwasher. "Bye," Harry agreed. He waited to see if she would say anything else. She just stood up, opened the dishwasher noisily, and shoved the dirty spoon into the silverware tray with exasperation. "Bye," Harry repeated. "The keys are on." "Bye. Is everything all right?" "Bye," Maria growled, walking out of the kitchen. "Bye," Harry said, closing the door. Harry didn't have to testify at Martha's trial. Her attorney, Caroline Jones, had negotiated a deal for her client. Instead of a second-degree murder charge for the fatal stabbing of Andy Hope, St. Elizabeth County District Attorney Sarah Galori and Caroline Jones agreed to a charge of aggravated manslaughter. Judge Marie Robichaud sentenced Martha Mitchell to serve her sentence at the medium-security Hearst Prison in East Thurn, Louisiana. Lying in her hospital bed after Salma's attack, Martha recalled the events of that evening. Only one person knew she would be at Hanging Gardens with Chad Theriot. "Divorced? Let me take you to Side by Side. We're having a little celebration tonight," Andy Hope suggested, as Martha prepared to leave the office and head to the courthouse. "Oh, that's nice, but I already have a date." "Chad is taking me to Hanging Gardens tonight," Martha replied. At that moment, Martha smirked as she looked at the dark red face of her boss. She knew he was in love with her, but she also knew that Andy Hope was neither as smart nor as handsome as he thought he was. "Damn weasel," Martha muttered, looking at the acoustic tile in her hospital room. "You God-forsaken fucking weasel." 2 weeks after the near-fatal incident, Martha returned to work. A white strip of duct tape held the gauze to the stitches on her throat. She was hugged by Dominique Wynne, who had been serving as Andy's assistant district attorney during her absence. "Damn, girl, how do you put up with his shit?" Dominique asked, picking up her personal Cartier pen from the surface of her desk and preparing to leave the outer office. "Not easy," Martha whispered, her voice still hoarse. As Dominique left the office, Martha took the key to Andy's office from the middle drawer of her desk. As quietly as possible, she unlocked his office door. Then she pulled a knife from her Berrigan bag that looked like the one Salma Theriot had wounded her with. Martha swung open the door to Andy's office and caught him masturbating to a bisexual video of a man and a woman streaming on his computer. "I almost died," Martha tried to scream, but only managed to wheeze. "See how you like it, you bloody asshole." Harry wasn't there to stop Martha. He couldn't roll up a linen napkin to stop the trickle of blood from Andy's slit throat. Dominique, who had forgotten her black mug labeled oxygen thief in the office, screamed at the sight of Martha with the bloody knife and Andy wriggling helplessly as the life drained out of him. Chris Fontenot, sobbing, watched his only daughter prepare to leave the courtroom. Father and daughter embraced for several long moments, sobbing together. Finally, a sheriff's deputy separated them. Martha stammered slightly as she saw her ex-husband standing just behind her father. He smiled sadly at her, and she tried to smile back. "I was supposed to dance with you," Martha whispered. "I was supposed to dance with you." Her ex-husband wiped away her tears and shrugged. Martha let the two deputies lead her out of the courtroom. She didn't turn around when the deputy to her left opened the side door of the courtroom and led her through the open doorway. Harry solemnly shook his former father-in-law's hand, hugged the broken man, and then left the courtroom as the next case began. He had hoped Chris Fontenot would survive this emotional ordeal, but the man looked completely ill as they sat together on the hard wooden bench. Now, after his daughter's sentencing, he looked just awful. Arriving at Thibodeau Investments, Harry stepped into the elevator. He pressed his floor button and sighed heavily. "Hold the elevator! Please hold the elevator!" Harry heard someone shout. His hand darted to the side and stopped the doors from slamming shut. He smiled as he saw his attorney Nicole Banks running toward him. Behind Nicole ran another woman. "Ms. Banks, slow down. I'm holding the door," Harry said. "Oh, it's you," Nicole joked, slowing down. "Never mind, we'll wait for the next one." "Whatever," Harry laughed. "Come on, get in." Harry's laughter was suddenly cut short when he saw his former roommate, pretty redhead Jenna, entering the elevator with Nicole. He smiled widely. "Hey, neighbor," Harry said as Nicole pressed the 6th floor button. "Oh, hi," Jenna West said, smiling shyly. "Do you two know each other?" Nicole asked, looking at Jenna. "Yes and no. She lived in the apartment next door to mine," Harry explained. "But I don't think we ever spoke." He held out his hand. Jenna shook it, and her blush deepened. "Hi, Harry Mitchell," he introduced himself. "I work in the IT department at Thibodeau." "I'm Jenna West, Ms. Banks's paralegal," Jenna whispered. "Okay, I know her extension number, 4001, Harry said, turning to Jenna. "But if I don't want to talk to her, how do I get in touch with you?" "No, not on my time," Nicole said, half-jokingly. "Oh, okay. How about your cell phone? Can I get your cell phone number?" Harry asked. "What she does in her spare time?" Nicole smiled. Harry quickly added Jenna's cell number to his phone and stepped off the elevator on his floor. He wished Nicole and Jenna a nice day and left. "How did it go? Are you almost done with all the drama?" Dominique asked as Harry entered the room. "I'm not sure," Harry replied, thinking of the pretty red-headed paralegal. "I feel like I'm about to uncover a lot more drama." "Save us," Dick said. "Collections just sent out a request." "Oh, send me, Harry begged. "Please? I need someone to—" "Mitchell, sit back down. Dick will take over," Dominic ordered. Harry smiled as the door closed behind Dick. Dominic looked up and laughed. "You just played a trick on me, didn't you?" Dominic chuckled.